What happens when you try to sell a BMW 335i on Cars and Bids and the buyer flakes? Do you just try to sell it on another platform like BaT? Will that work any better? Let's find out.
Bit Nerds is your daily YouTube card game show, where we predict the online auction results of the most interesting cars on Bring a Trailer, Cars and Bids, Haggerty Marketplace, and more. It's just like the Price is Right game show. Play along and see if you can beat the nerds.
All right, let's do the BMW real quick, and this will be real quick. This was a repeat offender. Basically, guys, you might remember we covered this red 2007 BMW 335i sedan not that long ago. On October 12th, this car sold on Cars and Bids for $19,750. However, the guy couldn't get financing. He could not perform and buy the car. He couldn't follow through.
You're giving Wade PTSD right now.
Hey, it happens. It happens.
This guy.
Wait. For the record, it wasn't Wade that couldn't get the financing.
No, it wasn't Wade. It was everyone trying to buy Wade's car. Yes, absolutely.
It's everybody buying a car right now.
Please direct message Mental if you don't mind lending Wade $17,000 so he can buy this car. Chris Carbine's online too for Wade. All right, so this guy pivoted, took the same bucket of photos and probably same copy, sent it over to BaT, and much to the contest of what JP just said, this car closed on October 12th, which means when do we guess they realized that this guy wasn't going to get the financing? I bet that took over a week or two. So if you put this on, like, say, the 20th to the 24th and do the math till now, this car is already live on BaT and, in fact, closes in 2 days. So this car went through the process to get up live on BaT really quickly. And I think they should be commended for that, because we do remember a time when you had to wait a month or longer to get, through that process. But this guy had all his assets ready, and BaT got him live right away. So, again, this is what I thought was a pretty cool car. 2007 BMW 335i. This has the sport package with the wheels, the sport seats, a manual transmission. It showed 57,000 miles, and it was out of King of Prussia, Pennsylvania. So now the car's on a bigger platform. Do we think it sells? And it's running at no reserve. I'm sure BaT made him do that. But do we think it's going to bring more money than the 17 it achieved, although didn't follow through? Sorry, $19,750 on Cars and Bids. Our car is sitting at $10,600 on just 7 bids, and it closes in 2 days. So at $10,600, and he's trying to get to 19, I'm going to say he doesn't quite get there, but he sells and gets his money. So it was at $19,750 on 43 bids on October 12th. I'm going to say the car sells for $19,000 here.
I'll go 18,335. What do you think, Wade?
So first off, let me just say one thing. I think I know exactly the type of buyer who couldn't get financing for this car, because I know who's going to buy this car. It's going to be a kid who wants to just mob it out. Right. I don't know that there's that many people on Bring a Trailer who would do that, and the market is set, so I don't think this car is going to hit that number again. I think it probably stalls out at like $18,500, and he should just take that money and run, because you're not going to do this again 3 times.
Well, he has to if it's no reserve.
Reserve, exactly.
Well, assuming somebody buys it this time.
Assuming.
Not to the level that it is affecting cabrios, but this is a rear-wheel drive stick shift car in a cold part of the country. I'm going to say it won't break 16.5.
16.5. All right. I mean, that's a good. These actually do pretty good in weather, surprisingly.
Yeah, but it's still. I mean, the reality of what it can do versus the perception of what it can do.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's not the kind of car that someone puts away in the garage for the winter, but yeah, I mean, it's definitely not something that.
It's got 57,000 miles. It absolutely has been that car that they.
I said it may have been, but it's not the one that you do, right? That's not what it's. It's not the kind of car that someone gets, and I think that this person didn't put this car away for the winter. I think they just didn't drive it much. I think it was just someone that, worked from home or whatever. But I think the next person is going to drive it. This is going to be their daily driver. That's what Wade's getting at. And, a nice daily driver if the plastic stuff doesn't break constantly, but whatever. Hey guys, I got to tell you about our friends Godden Porsche of Las Vegas and Godden Classic. If you're looking for a new Porsche or a classic, you've got to call our friend Steve at Godden. Save yourself the hassle of screwing around with all the auctions like we always talk about, and just talk to Steve. He'll find you the classic Porsche you're looking for. Godden Porsche of Las Vegas. Hey guys, I'm super excited to tell you about our sponsor, Guys Customs. Custom bracelets made to match your watch or your car. Unbelievable. You got to get one of these Guys Customs bracelets. Check them out. They support us, and we really, really, really want to support them. Guys Customs bracelets. All right, let's get back to the bids. Let's find out how much that car sold for today.
All right, so let's jump over to BaT, where we're looking at that 2007 BMW 335 with the Deja Vu package. This is a sports sedan with a 6-speed manual. Like, oh, that looks familiar. It's because that's the car we covered just a couple of weeks ago on October 12th on Cars and Bids, where the Hammer sold it at $19,750 on 43 bids. However, the buyer could not get financing and failed to execute the transaction. The consignor then took the car to BaT, where it ran at no reserve, with the same bucket of photos, same description, same 57,000 original miles. We looked at it again and put some new numbers on it, knowing that it had to run at no reserve. I thought it would come right back to the same number it was at $19,000 on the bigger platform. JP took the under at $18,335. Wade split the difference at $18,500, and Mental astutely took the under at $16,500 because our car sold for only $15,085 on 23 bids. Mental, why'd you take the under? Was it the platform or the car running twice? And what do you think of that result? Because it even sold for essentially $1,415 less than your bid, which is an astonishingly low number. Considering, basically it cost this guy, let's do the math here, nearly $5,000 to switch platforms and try to sell it again. That is a bummer.
It's a cool car, and I hope whoever got it recognizes they got a deal, and I hope they drive it. But it's not a collector's car. This thing doesn't stand out in traffic, so it's only special to the person that has it because it is that 6-speed with the cool wheels and everything like that. But this isn't a show it off to your friend's car. This isn't a wrap it in plastic and keep it car. And like you said, and if they're willing to switch platforms that quickly, they've got something else they want to do with the money. And we live in Vegas. You live in the Bay Area. How many red BMW 3 Series sedans do you see running around there?
Well,
I mean, what? I mean, dead air.
I think red's
dead
I think red's pretty rare, but I get your point. It's a sheep in sheep's clothing that happened to go to the gym, so I got you. Nothing special. Wade, what do you think of that result? $15,000 though. That's cold water, man.
Yeah, they lost a lot, and they probably lost a bit more in fees and time and headaches and heartache. I mean, I almost feel like Cars and Bids was the right platform for this car because it's kind of that younger, quirky kind of generation of car that somebody in their 20s or 30s would have bought and slammed and wrapped and made a whole thing of. I don't know that anybody on Bring a Trailer is going to do anything to this car. It might go to some old guy who just wanted something moderately interesting. I don't know how much the time of year had to do with it, or maybe people think that a car that was sold once and didn't come, the sale didn't go through and is resold again. Maybe they feel like it's, something sour with it, which may or may not be the case, but it seemed like just the buyer couldn't get financing, which is not unusual at 10% interest rates on average. So it's unfortunate. I don't know. It's not that interesting of a car, so it's not going to attract that many people, but man, $4,000 or $5,000 less than a couple of weeks ago is painful, no matter what.
Yeah.
Is Zach on? Is Zach Miller watching?
He is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Zach, let's ask you if you don't mind jumping into the comments real quick and let us know. Did Cars and Bids try to get this car to rerun, or did you actually ask him not to rerun it again? Like what's the protocol at Cars and Bids as far as, it's not the fault of the platform, it's not the fault of the consignor, it's unfortunate circumstances. Do you guys go out of your way to be like, hey, just give us a couple of weeks and we'll run it again for you with a disclaimer that, there was a failure to perform? Or was this guy just in too big a hurry and he had to run out the door? Or do you guys actually have a rule where you're like, hey, man, we can't rerun the car. It's not our policy? Because I can't remember. I think everybody's maybe a little bit different. I'm just wondering if Zach can chime in on how they handled this one, because that would be interesting if you know.
I'd be curious from you guys. Would you ever rerun a car if you were selling one on a different platform? Do you see the pros and cons either way? I personally feel like I don't think I would, but maybe you guys would.
JP, didn't you run a car on? Didn't you rerun one of your car? It came in like a Cayenne with a manual, or all of them sold the first time?
Yeah, no, everything is either sold or I've had one FTS, but no, I never reran everything. Looks like Zach is. He says, rare that we rerun, as it typically won't overperform, as proven here. If ever, minimum 6 months waiting period. I mean,
So they do have a rule, yeah. So they're saying we don't think we can replicate the thing, so it's up to you to decide if you want to try your luck elsewhere. And I understand that it sounds harsh, but there's some logic behind it. It's not meant to be, piss off.
Yeah, but I feel like they should, though. I mean, if
it's a numbers game,
But if it made a certain number and then the buyer didn't come through, then that doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with the car. They should rerun it again, and I think they should do it quickly. And they should say that it should be all over the place that that this person finked, and that this is a great car and this is your second chance at it, and try to sell it as an upside or something like that. If someone FTSs, I don't think they should rerun it for a minimum of 6 months. That what I mean? It's
right. That's two different programs. So Zach, next time you guys have a Zoom with the board, JP needs to sit down and tell Doug how to run his site. Okay.
Clearly, I mean,
I
clearly,
agree with that. I definitely agree with that. It would make a lot of sense to say, all right, here's the 12 bidders on this car. We'll send them an email, give them 72 hours. The car is back on, and see what happens. I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, make a big deal out of it, because it's like, dude, this is the poor guy trusted your platform to sell the car. And really, we've talked about this before. We talk about it all the time. These platforms really are just a dating service. It's just the platform put your car out there, and the high bidder, the platform just puts those two people together and takes a bid. So Cars and Bids got their money. I mean, that high bidder that finked on the seller, or he still had to pay whatever the premium was on his credit card. So Cars and Bids made money off of it. It seems kind of ishy that they would be like, well, sorry, dude, wait 6 months and try again. At no fault of the sellers. That's crappy.
Yeah. And then Zach, I have another question. Zach saying that it's hard to convince people of that over the internet. And I understand that. I champion JP's point, but it doesn't mean it's easy to execute. You can try, but sometimes you just move on and you got bigger fish to fry.
Well,
Zach,
would it be hold on. Would it be better for the seller to try to resell it on the same platform with a big thing that said "Fink buyer" from the previous auction? We're giving this guy another shot, or would it be better to go to another platform? If you're the seller, wouldn't you rather basically get special treatment on a second try on the same platform? I think that'd be the better way to go.
Yeah, I personally, if Cars and Bids would have reran this car, I think I don't know that they would have got $19,750, but I definitely think they would have got over $15,085, and I think they would have got more than 23 bids.
Especially in this particular case, because this particular car, like Wade said, belongs on Cars and Bids. This is a Cars and Bids car. On BAT, this car gets lost. Nobody cares about a Buddha spec red on ball sack, tan BMW on BAT, but on Cars and Bids, a car that's under $20,000. I think this thing is. I think this is a really good car for the money. Yeah, and Buddha, it just deserves special treatment as a second try. So Zach says, in a case like this, BMW, our post-sale team does go through the back office operations to connect the car to the other bidders without a rerun. Okay, but that's also different.
Didn't work.
Yeah,
it
that's
didn't work.
cool, valiant effort.
Will you read Buddha's comment? Because my own camera is covering it. I can't see it. What does Buddha say?
He says, "Hey."
Hey. All right. Hey, Zach, I have one more question for you. Since this guy was the winning bidder and did not perform and hung your consignor out to dry, is that guy blacklisted for any period of time or indefinitely? Is that a protocol of Cars and Bids that somebody who fails to buy then is reprimanded or banned from your site, from engaging with your site and messing with your clients ever again? Curious to know.
They should have a whole section on the website that just says fake buyers, like losers.
So a wall of
like you know
disgrace.
how like when you used to go into a grocery store and they'd have pictures of people that wrote bad checks, and their license up on the wall.
Everyone under the
fake
age
buyers.
of 30 is wondering what a check is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's my point.
But to both your point, because Cars and Bids has their feces co-located, bam, absolutely. As Zach said, they are done. You will not see
Good.
that bidder again.
Bravo. I do believe that's justice. That guy shouldn't be allowed on your site. You gotta protect your reputation as best you can. It's a bummer.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, to your point again, even though we contested the argument to present both sides, I agree with you, JP. I think if Cars and Bids would have ran this car, they would have got more money for it.
Well, and as an example, BAT, we profiled our friend Shadi's car. That car did fail to sell. His car is a beautiful car, but it just straight up FTS'd. And then they waited a few weeks or maybe a couple of months or something like that.
Just a couple months.
A couple months later, and it wound up going double. So I think there's something about the platform embracing the car. Again, I think special treatment is in order for a poor seller. That
It
has
sounds
to deal
like
with this.
Zach tried, or his team tried, and the buyer was probably the buyer wanted that money for something else.
Yeah.
Yep.
And wanted to try somewhere else, and that kind of like the Jaeger Speedster seller, that guy's just not willing to kind of come to Jesus and go, hey, I need to move this car and just take whatever. Maybe he's still thinking that he was using the platform as the reason his car didn't get where he wanted to go. Or something. I don't know. What do you guys think? Let us know in the comments below about this BMW. Should Cars and Bids have rerun this car and given him special treatment? Do you think it was a good idea for the seller to take such a low amount on BAT at this point and just cut his losses? Do you think that the car would have brought more money if it was run again on Cars and Bids? Let us know in the comments below. We love hearing from you guys.